All right, guys, so we are going to take the 080 test. I think we did a pretty good review before we started in this whole quarantine, but I definitely wanted to give you a quick video here as a reference. Remember, you're going to have to show these steps. So we're going to be reviewing for a little bit, but we will take the test. And remember, this is to qualify for next year. So this is important. I really want to make sure that you're doing this and ready to take the 080 test when we have to take it. Okay, so a couple of things. Remember this, you have to follow directions. It says we have to complete the square. So remember, the first thing we need to show is subtracting the 32, because that's the problem. We got to get rid of it. And then after we do that, remember you're going to take this number, divide it by 2. So 12 divided by 2 is 6, and then we're going to square it. So whatever I get after I divide this number by 2 and square it, that's what I'm going to add. So I add 36. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. Then I'm going to factor this. So when you factor it, it becomes x minus 6 squared equal to 4. So remember, all of these steps are worth points. This is a point. This is a point. Writing this is a point. You got to get all that in your steps. Now I'm going to take the square root of both sides. And then that's going to give me equal to 2, equal to negative 2. You do have to show this. You don't have to show each of these individuals here. And we get 8 and 4. Again, if you wanted to, right at the beginning of this, you could take this right to PolySimult, get the answer, but you're going to have to show all these steps. Every single one of these steps is worth points. I can't give you full points if you're not showing your work. And this test, when you take the 080 test, will be on Mastery Manager, and you'll have to write, kind of like what we did for the trig test. Okay, next one. This is a little bit easier of a one. You're going to cross multiply. So remember, you get a point for showing something with cross multiplying. Either you're going to take 7 times all of that and 5 times all of that. You do not have to write that step right there. But if you distribute in your head and you start with this, that's fine. So that you have to start out with, and then you're just going to solve. So if I subtract over the 5x, okay, and you can get your answer there. I think it says be sure to show your check solution. So you have to make sure that you plug that in and check it. So just say negative, and use the stow button in the calculator if you want, and just make sure that it checks out and that it's they're equal. Okay, I think we get negative 3 equal to negative 3. So that's also points. So you got to show this, you got to show the answer, and you got to show the check. Okay. Next one. So remember this one, there's a couple of different steps too that some of you missed last time. You always want to make sure whatever this base is, you want to write this number like that. So how do I write 16 with a base of 2? Well, you're thinking 2 to the sum power equals 16. Well, it's 2 to the 4th power is 16. So I rewrite that. And whatever this base is, that's what you're going to use to try to figure out how you're going to rewrite the 16 or whatever that number is. Once you get here, these exponents have to be equal because the bases are equal. So 4 equals 3x minus 5. So this is a step. This is a step. Have to show all that work. And then x equal to 3 after you solve. Okay, so you got to show all those steps. These are very similar to the free responses you're going to see. Number 4. When you do this, I would divide. You can use long division, but I don't think you guys are going to like it. I would do synthetic division. So this is going to be synthetic division, which remember you take this and set it equal to 0, so we get 6. That's our number on the outside here. Inside, I put the coefficients. 2, don't forget to take the sign with it. So 2, negative 9, 15. So the first thing I do is I bring down the 2. Now I multiply. 6 times 2, that goes here. Now I add, always add here. So negative 9 and 12 is 3. Now again, I multiply. 6 times 3 is 18. I add it together. I get 33. So remember, this is only part of your points. So I took a squared and divided it by an x. So these are my coefficients. I'm going to start out with a 2x, because what is x squared divided by x? It reduces to an x. So that's where you starts out with there. You do not have to show that in your work. So it's 2x plus 3, plus you take the remainder divided by what we had up here. Call that the divisor. So that's my final answer there. So you have to show the synthetic, and then you have to show your final answer. So those are all very similar for the free responses. And this is exactly what the test is going to look like. It's going to be 4 free response, and then it's going to go into some multiple choice, and then it'll be back to some free response again. There are 8 free responses total. Okay, so I'll do another one with the other one. So real quick on some of these multiple choices, plug that into the calculator. This one, remember, in order to add and subtract, the square root of 12 becomes, you can either do it that way, or you can just break down the 12 and say 12 is 4 times 3. So a 2 comes out. There's your group of 2. 2 times the 4x, that's going to be 8x root 3 minus 5x root 3. Those are like terms, so I'm adding the 8x and the minus 5x, and the root 3 stays the same. Okay, remember this notation on number 3. This just means f of x minus g of x. So f of x minus, in parentheses, g of x, distribute the negative, and simplify. 4, there's going to be a GCF first. 5 is the difference of 2 squares. Number 6, when does the rocket hit its maximum height? You can do that a couple of different ways. You can graph this in your calculator, do second calc max, and it'll calculate the height. You can do opposite of b over 2a, so your b would be 96. Your a would be the negative 16, and then once you get that, plug that back in, and that's going to be your answer. Actually, this would be t in this case, not x. So you can do a lot of different things on that, okay? I probably would just go to the calculator and do second calc max on that. Number 7, remember you're looking for groups of 3 for all of those. On number 8, you have a common denominator, so we're just going to add the top. We get 4x plus 8 over x plus 2, but that's not going to be the answer. Do not pick, that's not even there, but don't pick it anyway, because you can factor out the 4 here, and then the x plus 2's cancel, so the answer is 4. Okay? Log, remember on the log, the base here, since there's nothing written, is a 10. If this is in log form, we write it in exponential form. So remember exponential form. The base of the log becomes the base. A log is always equal to is just an exponent. That's all the log is an exponent. So your base is 10, your exponent is 4, and by default, you have that other third spot. Remember in the log, there's 3 spots. The little base, this part, and this part. This is always the exponent, and this is always the base. So always think base raised to the exponent equals what's left over, which is what we did here. Base equals the exponent, base to the power of exponent equals what's left over. So 10 to the 4th is 10,000, okay? Number 10, remember, get the absolute value by itself. I'm going to change it to an equals, first of all, and I'm going to get it by itself. Now I'm going to branch this out, and I'm going to get 2 critical points. And then from there, I'm going to go to the number line, and I'm going to check my regions. So once I solve these, I get 2 critical points. One is 4/3. Oh, wait, sorry, I didn't show you the branching. We're going to take 3x plus 1 equals 5. 3x plus 1 equals negative 5. So you're going to solve each of those. You're going to get 4/3 and negative 2. And then you're going to put those on the number line. Make sure you go smallest to largest here. So then remember, we just checked a region. So you check a take a number over here. I would say like -10. Stow it in the calculator, plug in the original using that test button. If you get a 1, it's good. If you get a 0, it's a bad. So in this case, it's going to be yes. So I'm going to put yes, it's a solution. In between here, I would plug 0 in. Again, stow it, plug it in, use the test button, it's a no. And over here, I would pick 10 or something, and it's a yes. So these are the regions that we have the solutions. So remember, go left to right. -infinity to -2 picks back up at 4/3 to infinity. Oh, and they're both brackets. They're going to be both closed circles on the number line, which means brackets because it's greater than or equal to. And then number 11 here goes back to log. So remember, the log has 3 spots. Okay, what goes here? The base. Well, the base is the 4. Log is just an exponent. K is the exponent. That goes here. And so the other one goes there. Okay. All right. Good luck. Submit that to Schoology. 080 test. It's exciting, people. Very exciting.